Hey guys, as promised, I'm going to show you how to do some roses. That'll be the first one that we do. Again, just to kind of let you see from sort of a bird's eye view what we're going to be doing with the consistency for roses. You want to be able to pick up the spoon and have peaks that stick straight up just like that. Test it a few times, make sure that all the way around in the icing, it's all the same. So you lift your spoon up and then make sure that that peak stays straight up to the sky, like so. Okay, I'm going to transfer this to my bag, and then I will show you how to do the roses. All right, make sure that tip is secure. All right, so you start at any point in the middle. Okay, and then we spiral out about a 1 time or 1.5 times, and then you just quickly or slowly, I guess, not really quickly, pull it and then have it kind of wrap around the rest of that rose there, like so. Sometimes you can take your toothpick and take that little tail and kind of just push it in a little bit, make it look a little bit cleaner. Flowers you can also do with the star tip, and what you would do is just squeeze and hold, squeeze, hold, then pull straight up. Gives you a nice little star kind of flower. But if you need to see the roses or the stars again, go ahead and rewind, look at those again if you need to. All right, next up, we're gonna do our leaves. So the leaves are the same consistency of the roses. To kind of save some time, I'm just going to cut this off. I need a new bag. I'm going to transfer it to a new bag, and then I'll show you how to cut these for the leaves. All right, so we have a new bag, same consistency though. Okay, so first thing we do is we find the seam in the bag. Okay, now we want to have that seam be facing us right down the middle, and we do want it to be completely perfectly, as perfect as we can, right down the middle. There's gonna be some air here, so sometimes what I do is get a very, very tiny hole just to get a flat, all that air out. So now I'm more of a flat area to work with my cut. Okay, so once you have it lined up nice and flat, we're gonna do 2 cuts. So we have diagonal cuts from the outside to the seam. Let me see if I can get a little bit closer here. So I cut outside to the seam, and then I do the same thing on the other side, but I want them to be symmetrical. So I really want both sides to be the exact same. If you can see, the right side is a little bit longer than the left side. So I might have to look at it a few times and really get a perfect cut here, which is hard with the camera. But once you have that cut, then the rest is pretty easy. But you lay your wrist flat, so instead of being upright, we're now gonna be laying our wrist flat, and as we squeeze and pull, when we pull out, we're going to be completely straight out. So of course this would usually be a green color for these, but the longer you hold and squeeze, the bigger your your leaf gets. You can also do ruffles where you would squeeze and pull. That's kind of fun. You can do really, really tiny ones where you just squeeze a little bit. But that nice clean cut is going to give you that super pointy tip on your leaf here. So, play with this. The leaves are super fun, but they're really only fun if you cut it the exact right way. And if you do end up getting some wonky looking leaves, what I would suggest is just making sure you take another closer look at it, recut it if you need to. But that is what you want it to look like, or something like that. Even mine's not perfect, but I'm happy with the way my my leaves turned out. So I'm good with that. Okay, the next one I'm going to show you is going to be the lace. All right, so the lace technique is very fun. You do need a paintbrush and a very, very tiny amount of water. Literally only a couple of drops will do. You also want to make sure you have a paper towel, and you use the thick consistency here. I'm just going to kind of pretend like I'm doing the ocean like I showed you in the class. Some waves here. I'm gonna go a little bit nuts. So what we're going to do is we want to pull these waves in towards us, but we do dab it with a little bit of water, but then you don't want it to be sopping wet. You just want it to be a damp paintbrush here. And then as you kind of move along, and it's usually with white. It looks a little prettier, but I wanted to make sure to really kind of show you what's going on here. Sometimes if it's too wet, it's okay, to go back over. You dry it off a little bit and then go back over if you need to. And then sometimes it gets a little bit dry, like it's getting, so then you might want to do it again. It might take a couple of times. Also, if you have a very fancy paintbrush, it looks better. This is somewhere in between. It's not like a cheap paintbrush, but it's also not a very fancy one. But for instance, let me see if I can get a nicer one here. Still got a little bit of silver on it from my class I just did. But if you have a little bit of a nicer one, you sometimes can get a little bit of a better effect here. But play with it, kind of see what it's like. Practice a few times. It does look better with the white, like I had said. Let's see how different it's going to be. So see, a little bit different, a little bit cleaner and nicer. A lot of times it just has to do with the bristles. Just might be a little bit nicer, better quality. But yeah, that is basically it. Have fun. Hope you guys can benefit from all these little tutorials. I think that was everything that I wanted to show you from a bird's eye view. So let me know if you have any questions. All right, bye.